At the moment, we're running the Nottingham Urban Business Grant. So you could be eligible if you can say yes to any of these. So are you ready to start trading or currently trading? Do you sell business to business or business to customer, but not retail? Your business is based in Nottingham City, Broxtowe and parts of Gedling, or apologies, there's a typo there, Rushcliffe and Ashfield. And you're a small to medium enterprise. Okay, so what can the grant be used for? So it can be used for equipment to help your business grow and or diversify, such as computer hardware or software, tools and machinery, office equipment, and also for consultancy, which a lot of people do use it for this instance to help your business grow or diversify again. So you can pay for somebody to do a marketing plan for you, any IT projects that you might be wanting to do, including websites, sales strategy. So how much funding is available? So it's between £1,000 and £2,500. Okay, it's the maximum of 25% of eligible costs that you can actually claim for. So the minimum project spend is £4,000. So if you spend £4,000, if it's an eligible project, you can claim £1,000 back. That's a minimum. And the maximum project spend is £10,000, where you'd get the £2,500 back, which is the 25%. So it is actually match funding. So this means where you have to pay the supplier for the full cost of the project before you can actually claim the grant element. So it's really key that if you are wanting the grant, you do make sure you've got all the funds in place to cover this prior to submitting the application. And you can't actually do retrospective claims. So if you've already purchased something, you can't then come to us and say, can I have a grant for something you've already bought? So it's really key, if you are looking at buying something, come and speak to us and see if it's eligible before you go ahead and purchase anything at all. So how do I apply? So you complete the expression of interest on our website. We do an eligibility check on your postcode to make sure you're in the eligible area. If you are eligible, we then issue with an application pack. And then you have to submit the full application, which includes 3 quotes for each item that you want. So some people find that a little bit harder, but you know, we can help you how to find the quotes or what sort of things we're looking for. The grant panel then review the submission, and then on approval, we tell you can go ahead and make the purchase. And then you can submit the claim for the 25% project cost once you've made the purchase. So we also offer other services under this Nottingham Urban Business Support Programme, and that's our Starting in Business programme and also the Business Assist. So Starting in Business is a 3-day Starting in Business workshop, and some of the areas that we cover is the importance of business planning, skills needed to run a business, and it sounds like there's some of the things that you run through with your guys, Leon, as well. How to market a business, how to price a product or service, how to manage money, and what to include in a business plan. And this is all free of charge. So to be eligible, it's postcode eligibility again. There's no age restriction, but we prefer over 18s really. There's no benefits criteria, so you don't have to be on certain benefits to be able to go onto the programme, and it can be any stage of startup. So you could have just started, and it can also be pre-startup. We also run the Business Assist programme, which is a no-cost access to knowledgeable, experienced business mentors like myself and Kevin, and we offer bespoke advice and information tailored to your business, really. We also do training sessions and run some masterclasses, and some of the masterclasses we've run this year are on your digital marketing, IP, recruitment. There's lots of masterclasses that we have run, and we've got quite a few scheduled in as well. And again, they are free if you are eligible. And we also provide access to other programs and funding. And this is where we would refer you on to other parts of the network, for instance, as like Trent Uni and other universities, so that we can all make sure that you get the most support that you can. Other services, we do have property services, so we've got some affordable office space. We do some virtual tenancy, and we also do have conference and meeting room hire. So we're based on David Lane next to the tram stop. So it's quite a good place if you do want to hire a room, because you can get there on the tram, and there's also car parking. And that's our contact details. But if you do have any other questions, we are here to answer the questions of Kevin and I at the end, but also there's our enquiries@nbv.co.uk, our email address, if you do have anything that you want to discuss privately. That's it, thank you.
Fantastic, thank you, Julie. Yeah, I'll pass over to Richard as well. So Richard Ladipo from NTU, if you can jump in.
Oops, still forgetting to mute after all this, unmute after all this time. Who can believe it? Okay, let me just move my, I'll be with you in 2 seconds, folks. Slideshow from beginning. Okay, hopefully you can all see that.
Can do, yeah.
Okay, so Richard Ladipo from Enterprising Ashfield. I'm an enterprise advisor on the Enterprising Ashfield programme. So I'm just going to quickly give you a very brief summary of what grants are available through the programme. That's myself and my colleague Declan Manning, who's also on the call. So let's moving forward. Sorry, my screen's not moving forward for some reason. Okay, there we go. So Enterprising Ashfield then, just a bit of an overview of the programme. Enterprising Ashfield is part of a £62 million programme funded through the Towns Fund. Important to point out that it does focus on Kirkby and Ashfield in particular, Kirkby and Sutton and Ashfield in particular, and covers 3 strands. The Enterprise strand, which I work on, so that consists of the Head Start programme, which is aimed at startups and provides a £1,000 grant and fully funded business support. So that's one-to-one advice and workshops. The other element of the enterprise strand is Breakthrough. That's aimed at existing businesses that want to grow. And through that, we provide a £1,500 grant that needs to be matched. And I'll go into a bit more detail in this in the next slide. But it's just to provide for the cost towards business coaching and mentorship. The talent strand, which my colleague Declan who's on the call, is going to talk about. That's a £1,250 grant towards the cost of a 6-week graduate placement. And there is a third strand, which provides short professional courses to upskill the local population and workforce, but there are no grants attached to that. There we go. So just to kind of like go into a bit more detail about the enterprise strand then, as I say, 2 elements to that: Head Start and Breakthrough. Head Start is, as I say, for people that have an idea and want to start up a business, or who have recently started. The idea is to take you from idea to being startup ready, so effectively ready to start the business. Consists of 4 workshops which cover 3 areas. The workshops are based around the business model canvas. For those of you that are not familiar with the business model canvas, it's basically a business plan on 1 page for our purposes today. So it's a summary business plan. The workshops will cover, do people want to buy your product or service in the first instance? If they do want to buy your product or service, do you have the resources and capacity to deliver? So do you have the equipment? Do you have the know-how? Do you have the experience? So forth and so on. And ultimately, will it be profitable? Will there be more income than expenditure? In addition to those workshops, we provide free one-to-one advice, coaching and support. And the aim of the workshops, together with the one-to-one support, is for you to produce an enterprise-ready plan, which is effectively a summary business proposal consisting of about 2 or 3 pages. Once you reach that stage, then we can put you forward for grant approval, and that's a grant, as I say, of £1,000. I should say you don't necessarily have to go through all, you don't necessarily have to attend workshops. You do have to attend the one-to-one advice and support, but depending on, we recognise that some people may be working and can't necessarily attend workshops. So as long the emphasis is on really doing the enterprise ready plan that's going to make you present your a viable business proposal, and so that you can apply for the grant. It's very important to point out that you must live in the Kirkby or Sutton in Ashfield areas. And if you don't live in those areas and you live outside, you can still you can still be eligible. You'd need to set up a business within those areas. You don't necessarily need to have a physical presence there. You don't necessarily need to, you certainly don't need to exclusively trade in the area, but you do need to set up a business in the area. The other half of the equation, the enterprise strand, as I say, is the breakthrough program, which is aimed at existing businesses that want to grow. I should mention at this point that it hasn't been set up yet. We're still recruiting for staff for that program, but you can register your interest as of today. And that will probably reflect a similar, we have a breakthrough that an existing program called Breakthrough, so it's probably going to very much reflect that. And that will consist of an initial diagnostic to consider where you are as a business at the moment, workshops, mentoring and one-to-one support to develop a growth plan, a growth strategy, and then a grant of £1,500 that does need to be equally matched. So you need to put your own 1,500 in towards professional coaching and mentoring. Again, I should point out it is aimed at Kirkby and Sutton and Ashfield, so businesses do need to be based in the area. And that's the enterprise strand. I'll just quickly hand over to my colleague, Declan, who will do the last slide we have here. Declan, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here, Richard. Thank you. So the talent strand, a little bit different. So this is focused more around graduate placements. Now, we've done it so it's funded for the first 6 weeks of a graduate placement. The reason why we've tied it towards the first 6 weeks is to make it easier for businesses. So if you have a new graduate that starts and they leave after 6 weeks, you're still fine. You're still going to receive the funding. So it's done at 50% match funding. So basically, when you've paid 2 times the amount, you will receive the £1,250 back in a lump sum. Now, similar to Richard's side of it, you have to be based in the Kirkby and Sutton Ashfield postcodes. If you want to check that, feel free to get in touch and I could just check your postcode for you. It literally takes about 2 ticks, so you can pop me an email anytime. The additional benefit of this project as well is there's going to be a digital academy going on. So anyone that you've employed through this talent strand grant, there will be a digital academy going forward later on down the line. And what that means is that the graduate can take on digital skills. We're still working out exactly what digital skills are wanted. So if you have any suggestions, anything that you think might be beneficial for your business, anything like that, do let us know, so we can add them into what the academy is going to cover. Now, another thing to mention while we're talking about grants and the talent strand is if you are in the Nottinghamshire or Derbyshire area and you don't fit within this Kirkby and Sutton area, there are also other grants available. So do get in touch if you're looking at hiring or taking on a graduate and you're outside of this area as well, because I can cover in a little bit more detail about some of the other grants that might be available through Nottingham Trent University. But that's about it for the talent strand. Here for any questions.
Thanks, Declan. And I believe that Leon will have our contact details as well and sending out a crib sheet of what we're talking about after this. So if you didn't catch them, then Leon will be sending those out later. So thanks for your attention.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Declan. So
Yes.
Quickly just going back over to my side of things, everyone. So I just wanted to mention as well, so one of our other partners we work with is a company called B Global. So B Global will cover a bit further afield in comparison to the partners I've just given a bit of context as well. So just make sure everyone can see my screen at the moment. So at the moment, we currently have a variation of grants available through a company called B Global. Now, B Global are currently working with the Community Renewal Fund, and that's the CRF. And the CRF is the foreign to the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, which eventually will replace the EU structural funds that help deliver local business support and skills development. Now, they're currently offering 2 grants. I've only got one currently mentioned on the slide. So they're offering growth vouchers of up to £2,000 for each business to fund and support growth growth challenges, new technology, or carbon reduction. They also have another grant available, which is up to £8,000, and that's in supporting local economic growth in terms of employability. So if you are an employer and you're seeking to take someone on, there is up to £8,000 available to help you do that as well. Now, with B Global, you can access one-to-one advice, coaching and mentoring, support to deliver your business plan, help with market research, sourcing startup finance, and guidance in choosing the right legal structure for your business as well. Now, also to mention with B Global, again, that is a £2,000 that I've currently highlighted, and the reason being is that that's quickly coming to an end because of the number of uptake. So to be eligible for that, you actually need to be a resident, or your trade address needs to be registered in Mansfield, Newark and Sherwood, Bassett Law. As long as you're within those fields, you'll be able to apply for this particular grant. So again, with the combination of the providers you've had doing the talks today alongside what's available from B Global, it's covering quite a vast majority of the Nottinghamshire, Nottingham area. And again, if you don't currently have a business or a residency in one of those areas, if you intend to set up a business in the area, you can also apply as well. So, but you don't have to exclusively trade there. And the person to contact will be Leslie Ola, who is the founder of B Global as well. And he does have a few colleagues that he may put you on to if you contact and reach out. So on to what the BIPC offers in terms of grants. So we don't offer any particular grants ourselves. However, what we do offer is access to Grantfinder, which I'll give you an overview and a demo today. So Grantfinder is the leading funding database in the UK, and it covers local, national, and international sources of funding. So any member of the BIPC team can provide grant recommendations using Grantfinder, and our advisors are all trained to help identify relevant grants that may be appropriate for you with further one-to-one conversations. So you contact the BIPC team to discuss your business, your funding or finance queries. So with Grantfinder, to give a bit more of an in-depth analysis over it, it allows you to search for any type of a grant or award available across the whole of the UK and further afield if needs be. And there's no sort of limitations on terms of what you can look for, but it's very criteria specific. So what I'll do is I'll jump into a bit of a show here on Grantfinder and what you'll be looking at. So let me just change my slide for you. So with Grantfinder, again, you can see on my screen currently, this is sort of Grantfinder, what you would look at. It's relatively easy to search through, but you can predefine. So for example, if we wanted to put in a certain criteria, we can do different types of keyword searches. However, on this left-hand side, if we scroll down, if we click on search, and it will then bring up the variation of sort of criteria you can look for. So again, it will show kind of any type of grant or funding that's available that's coming to a deadline currently. But again, on the left-hand side, when we're going through to this, we can actually select a variation of what's available. So we can go public sector, for example, if that's a service area that you cover or industry you cover. And there's a variation. Just for the sake of it, we'll do limited companies. So again, initially what this do, it will generate, there's just under 1,400 items found there. So that's different funds and grants available. Now we can specify even further down on this, and we can specify completely in terms of the type of industry you're actually looking for. So if we did a combination of food services and drinking, and let's say full service restaurants, for example. And you'll see that this is completely shortened this down again to 727 particular grants that be available. So there's a whole variation of how Grantfinder can be used, and again, you can go down a bit of a rabbit hole with it because there's a lot of information here, but it's about specifying exactly what it is you're looking for, and then actually search for that relevant grant. And again, this can be accessed through the BIPC. It's free to use. You'll just require a bit of a one-to-one with an advisor, and they can help you go through it. But again, for example, it always gives you what the application status is, if it's open or it's going to be reopened or it's closed, the value and the deadline, and it'll give you the variation of what's coming up and what you can look for as well. With Grantfinder, again, you can update it daily, quite regularly, and from there we can go forward really and see what's available for you. And again, we can specify even further down. So again, we can specify it's a grant, a loan, rate relief, rent relief. There's a variation of what you can look for. You can check for what type of source that you want it from. You can check at deadlines, you can do it on a funding amount, you can do a geographical scope, so you can specify, okay, I want to know what grants are available just in Nottinghamshire for my type of business. Well, you can do that. If there's a funder, you know, that's a particular funder that's putting out a lot of grants, you can search by that as well. So there's a lot of search information you can do, but in terms of narrowing down your industry and your sector and your type of business, again, it breaks down quite heavily into terms of it's very specific. So it's very granular in terms of the information you could input to get the relevant type of grants and funds that are available for you. So that's just a bit of a touch on Grantfinder.